The Music and Mavens Daytime Concert Series is in full swing down at the Rady JCC, but especially so next Tuesday when the Janice Finlay Quartet performs. My Favorite Things is the title of the show, and to tell us more about it, I'm joined by Janice Finlay. Welcome to Classic 107.
Well, thanks for having me here. I'm delighted to be here.
Happy you're here in the Diamond Lane. I have to say, I love the name of your show, My Favorite Things. But I'm curious, how did you go about putting together your favorite things for a concert?
Well, that's a great question, actually. I like the fact that the title gives me lots of latitude, and I found that I was sort of thinking about it on a subconscious level. And so I, in fact, one night I woke up and I went, oh yeah, I really like that, and I really like these things. And so I came up with a whole bunch of ideas of things that really fell under that category. So things like my flower gardens, believe it or not. So what it actually is a combination of some photos that I've taken, some photos that my incredibly talented photographer father has taken, and then kind of matched up with some of my music and some stories that go along with it, and put together a concert. And I got a great bunch of guys too.
I mean, it sounds like a multimedia performance. It's not just the music that is your favorite thing.
That's true, actually. Well, this is a new discovery, and it's actually, I don't think I've ever done a concert like this, to be honest with you, where it's not just the music standing on its own.
Oh, that's super cool. I mean, so before we get to these great group of guys that you're performing with, and a little bit more about the show itself, I'm wondering, can you speak a little bit, there's obviously a multifaceted aspect to you and everything that you've been doing, not just as a player. I know you're a woodwind triple threat, but also as an educator. Janice, for those who don't know you, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been a pretty major stalwart member of this music scene since I launched my career on January 1st, 1983.
What a day to do it.
Yeah, how do I know,
Happy
right?
New Year.
Moved out of the parental home and started my career all in one day. I don't know, kind of maybe not the best idea. And have really appeared here. I often get to play with the Winnipeg Symphony in anything where they're hiring a pop sax player. So I've had great opportunities there. I've been a long time member, and lucky, I would say, mentoree by Ron Paley. I've been a member of his big band since pretty much I started my career. When I did start my career in 1983, oh my goodness, I can't even look back without cringing on my playing back then, but I did know that the time would come when I would go to university. So in 1987, the time came, and I went off to McGill University and studied jazz performance with a saxophone major, which was just great. And then came back here, and a lot of the professional 30-year-old-ish jazz musicians that are working here and across Canada came through a wonderful program that I put together in the 90s together with Long and McQuaid Music, where we ran an all-star band. So there's a lot of guys. In fact, I know, I don't think in this particular stage, but very often I get to share the stage with former students who are now professional musicians who were in that band. So
isn't that just a beautiful full circle? I mean, especially mentoring and working with Ron Paley early in your career, and then mentoring students later and then performing with them.
Well put.
Yeah, that's got to be really rewarding.
It is. It's being, and to see how well they're doing. I mean, it's so exciting for me to see them, because my job was basically to find these really kids with potential who were still in high school, and then to see them blossom and become their full potential or still working towards it. Just fabulous, so very exciting.
So let's talk about some of these performers you're going to be joined by in the Janice Finlay Quartet. Who are you bringing together?
Well, Ron Paley, of course. Everybody knows and loves him, and it's always a delight to play with him because especially when he's not the leader, he tends to really stretch out, and so I often just stand and just enjoy his playing. And then I of course have his long-term sidekick Rob Seawick on drums, who I've worked with so many times, such a finesse and musical drummer. And then Carl Kohut, who again kind of came up through Ron's mentorship as a bass player. I think he went to U of M, and he's just finished doing some postgraduate work
down in New York.
Yeah, and has been hired to come back and take the bass position as the instructor at U of M. Oh. So and he's just he's a great player, and he's just such a just polite and wonderful to work with. So top pros, great players, and can't ask too much of them. Oh, well, why don't we just play this really hard song? Oh, okay, no problem. They're great. They're awesome.
Talk about a feel-good favorite things concert. So you just mentioned, hey, can we play this? No big deal. What can audiences expect to hear at the concert on Tuesday?
It's actually a mix. Most of it, there's some that are definitely my original compositions, and I've tied some specific images to those. those, and some stories. I'll tell you people about how they came to be and what I think of them and what's happened with them. And then I've got a couple of other things that just match kind of the visual topics that aren't necessarily originals of mine. One of them is a wonderful arrangement, in my opinion, of Softly as in a Morning Sunrise. It goes with some incredible photos of my dad's. And so I had to kind of pick stuff that worked together with the pictures. So it's a mix.
It sounds like just a real feel-good show in the middle of February. I mean, what more can people ask for?
Exactly. Well, I am not playing, however, my song Anywhere But Here, which I should tell you was written a few Januaries ago when it was minus 53 with the wind chill. So we won't be evoking that lovely memory. That one won't be included, even though it's a great tune.
I'm sure it's a great tune, but it may be a little bit too recent with the winter we've had.
Yeah, if I tell that story, everyone's going to be shivering in their seats, you know.
Well, Janice, I want to thank you so much for coming by Classic 107. We're going to hear a work of yours. Would you mind introducing this tune? We're going to hear the Houston Shuffle.
Yeah, this is the first track on my second CD, Anywhere But Here. And this was just inspired by a particular concert I went to where the saxophone player just went for it in this really great classic jazz thing. And I went home and I literally wrote this piece. It's what I call a Blakey shuffle, for those of you who know who Blakey is. And it honestly has been downloaded and purchased across the world more than any of my other pieces, everywhere from Russia to New Zealand to Japan to whatever. So I'm not the only one who thinks it's kind of catchy. So it's called the Houston Shuffle.
And here it is in the Diamond Lane.